hope everybody's enjoying some of the little stuff today. I feel like today I'm at I want to say, I'm going to give today an 8 because predominantly because of such a good conversation I had with someone I don't know very well. But it's about enjoying more of the present a little bit. And I think a lot of it rubbed off, and he seemed a lot more chipper, at least, when I left. But regardless of that, I thought it would be fun to talk about kind of not how you should program, per se, but the mindset that you should have when you program. And the main thing that I like to say programming is when you're writing out your own sets and reps and what exercises you think you should do, all that, it's just a game of, what the hell? It's just a game of trial and error. That's what it is. Sorry, I lost my words. But essentially, it's just, you can't expect everybody's body is very different. Everybody might look the same or similar, but everybody's body and proportions and what they need to grow are completely different almost all the time. And so whatever any coach can give you to with a program, they're going to try as hard as they can to get to what your body needs, but only you can know what your body needs, and you figure that out through trial and error. And of course, if you're just starting, you should always get programming advice from other people just to see what might work with you, or just to at least get the experience of sticking to a program and then being able to trial and error off of what you begin with. But once you get into it and you really have something solid built up, or you've gotten some experience with at least running a program or sticking to one consistently, and you want to get better, a lot of people will think that there needs to be change when they have one bad day. You'll go in and you might fuck up one lift that would be completely unrelated sometimes, and again, sometimes might not. But I don't like it when people come up with the reason to change their whole program based off of not doing as well as they wanted to. I understand. What I want it to be based off of is if you it needs to have an actual why, a desire that will make you a better lifter. For example, I was doing hang snatches and hang cleans for the longest time, but I didn't feel like I was getting a lot out of them, and it's a different fluent motion than what you would normally replicate in a normal clean or a normal snatch. And so I decided to start training block snatches and block cleans from a high block where the bar starts around my knee, so that I could, because my third pull was so shit at the time. And it wasn't so much that I couldn't lift a lot of weight. It was just that I had a good pull, but I wasn't able to dive under it fast, and I couldn't brace my core fast enough because I was slow. And I don't think I was getting as good a pull as you want. You never want an early arm bend when you're going into the top of the second pull and into the third pull. But I think I used to keep too straight of an arm going into my third pull. So sure, my pull can be really hard and I'm going as hard as I want to, but if I'm not getting as high and effective as a pull as I can, then I'm not going to be able to fall underneath it. So I made that slight change, tried it out for a month, and it ended up working in my favor. And now my third pull's awesome. I can dive underweight like I'm fucking going through a cannon. It feels great. And not to say that change is invalid when you want it, but it needs to. I feel I love thinking of the fucking clip where Goku's talking about Gohan as a kid, figuring out how to pull out all of his latent power, and it's not from some basic want. It needs to come from a need or a desire. It needs to stem from a goal. It needs to, you need to feel like you have to get better with this no matter the cost. Not to be dramatic, but I think it's more fun to think of it that way. But essentially just, when you make a change in your program, it doesn't have to be crazy big. I actually implore that it isn't crazy big. You got to start with one little thing at a time. You're already trying to your best, like especially with Olympic, you can fuck up form so many days and not realize it, or even if you do realize it, it's hard to get out of it. Like, powerlifters can plateau in weight, but sometimes Olympic lifters plateau in their form. Sometimes you just get into a funk and it takes a little bit to get out of it. But when you make a change like that, I think it's really important to, first of all, one, really commit to it, not just like try it for shits and giggles, but to actually believe. You got to believe that lift is going to be what makes you better. And if it doesn't, that's fine. Move on. But in that initial stage, you need that mental confidence in order to do the new lift, because it's scary to do a new lift. It feels weird. It's not what you're used to. People who do powerlifting don't like doing front squats, but god damn it, makes your core strong as shit. So sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. But I think it's a good baseline is to give it at least 2 weeks to a month. If you have a normal training block that's like 4 to 6 weeks, I say just stick to the training block. Do the percentages you're supposed to do and just feel it out. And if you don't like it after that entire training block, then that means something, But if you do it for a day or two and you think, oh, well, I'm not feeling stronger or my form hasn't gotten much better, it's like, of course it didn't. It's been 2 days. There's 1,000 things you need to remember and learn and pick up when you're doing any sort of lifting. And you can only tackle one thing at a time, let alone perfecting it takes even longer, I'm still, I struggle all the time with my split jerk, but I'm still trying my best. I started training pause split jerks recently, and I fucking hate them. But my explosiveness is way better. And even though my split jerks on their own may feel very heavy and not as intuitive or efficient as I want them to be, that over compensation I have to do there has translated incredibly into my clean and jerk. If I can get a clean up, almost every time I'm jerking that thing like it's nothing. And I don't mean that to be out of context. I don't fucking take that out of context. But, I don't know. But just, main thing, don't overthink it. If you change too many things at once, of course your body's going to react differently because you're changing too much. You got to get used to one thing at a time before you can actually respond to it properly and adapt to it properly. When you change your diet, regardless of if you're going from healthy to junk food or junk food to healthy, if you make a super split change in the matter of 1 day and cut out a bunch of shit and just completely change your diet, you're still going to feel horrible for the next couple of days to a week because your body's not used to it. Your metabolism's got to take time. So like your metabolism, give your body some time to get used to it, and you might see a little bit better results than you thought you had in you. You got to be shit on your shit days in order to be the best on your best days. So get through some shit and deal with that shit as however best you can. But beyond that, make sure you have fun. You can do lifts that are hard or you might not want to do them as much, but if you can get good at them, I bet you'd have a lot of fun with them. You got to really lower your expectations and increase your hopes, because having an expectation of what you're going to do, I feel like just sets you up for failure, because if you don't hit it, you're immediately going to have to lower your bar. But just having a basic hope or a desire to do better can drive you so far. I just want to do better every single day, and I don't think too much about my form. I obviously will always look at it, and if I have a bad rep, I want to do better. But if it's just slight technical things, don't overanalyze, just have fun with it. And as long as you're consistent and putting in the effort, I guarantee whatever you think is shit in your form, as long as you're showing up and doing the effort and the work you're supposed to do to get better, in like 3 to 6 months, you're going to be pissed off for some other reason with your form. You're not even going to remember that first thing, because you grow out of it. You adapt to it. You can only do something so many times before you really figure it out. And I really, whenever I figure something out in the Olympic, I feel like that you get that one really good rep out of 1,000, and you can never go back. It's only forward. And even that better rep, you're going to immediately start critiquing it and finding flaws in it, because you get better at critiquing. So give yourself time. Life's not meant to be rushed. So enjoy the lifts while you have them. And if they leave the program at some point, that's okay. But just have fun with whatever you do. And I hope you guys have an 8 out of 10 day too. So that's all I got.
That was the best